What's poppin', my Freeform Renegades? You are tuning into the Freeform Network. Thanks for joining us for another fun episode of Freeform Radio. I'm your host, Noel, with my co-host, Daniel.
Yes, sir. Daniel here, man. Didn't go to church today, Andy, so I'm feeling a little sinful. We'll see if it reflects in the podcast.
I'm pretty sure it will.
And we got Andy here.
It's all good, Andy. I want to thank you guys for joining us. We had plans to go to church, and then, as we say in Spanish, los pegó la huevonada. And Gracie my wife was just like, "Is it okay? It's okay." So I'm glad you guys are able to join us.
Definitely. Well, it's another chilly day here in Chicago. It's still in the winter, but it is sunny, so I'll take it. Wherever your listeners are, we hope you're relaxed, feeling good. We're going to start it off here with Daniel and what's going on with his week. And it looks like he beat a new game, Mafia 3. Can you fill us in, Daniel? How was that?
Yeah, and for sure, man. By new, this is a game that came out in 2016, so that's how new it is. But Mafia 3, yeah, this is one of those 2K games. Came out by Hangar 13. Not sure if you heard about it, Andy, but it does a twist with the mafia themes, where it puts you in a guy that came back from Vietnam, a black character, and he's dealing with all the trauma from going to Vietnam, all the public kind of hating the soldiers, stuff like that. So that plays a backdrop into it. And then he comes back to a fake New Orleans city, and he's being received by his family, his friends, and by some people that are in the mafia. And that's where the story really takes off. Really good story, really cool. Played this when it came out many years ago, but it kind of dropped off, played a couple missions, and then never finished it. So yeah, I finally had a chance to go back, give it another try, especially with the new one that just came out last year, the Old Country, Mafia, the Old Country. So it really got me wanting to play this one and beat it because I did hear that, there's a couple nods, even though the Old Country is way, way back, prequel to the Mafias, but really cool. Not sure if you heard about this, Andy. I know you're pretty good into these first person
So
shooters and stuff like that.
yeah, the Mafia ones, for some reason, the first thing that pops in my head is PS2. That series is still going on to the current consoles. And I remember playing the first one, but I didn't know, or they just remastered this one, or this is actually a new game for the current systems.
No, no, like I mentioned, this came out in 2016, so this is an oldie game. Came out for the PlayStation 4, Xbox One, all those old series. I mean, it was new when it first came out,
Right.
because a lot of them were still stuck in PlayStation 3 land. This was like one of the first Mafia games to come out in PlayStation 4, so it does look relatively well, but it doesn't look like a modern game. If you compare it to the new one that just came out, the Old Country, it's day and night. I mean, the Old Country looks fabulous, but this doesn't look too shabby. Great music, man, because it takes place, shortly after Vietnam, and it just has awesome music, a bunch of the oldies that I like. It's just a cool backdrop with New Orleans. It's got a swampland, a city, farmlands, the ghetto area, and it's just really cool put together. Great story of the typical Andy revenge. Somebody does you wrong, and you got to go out there and get them. So really cool. Enjoyed it. Was this something that you were aware of, Noel, or did you even hear about it?
So I have a massive backlog, and it is part of that long list, but I haven't played them yet. I've only tested out Mafia 1. I believe I have it. I think I got it as a free game through Amazon
Right.
since I have Amazon Prime. So every month they give you free games. I want to say like a year ago I got all three of them, I think.
Wait. Amazon
Um,
Prime has free games?
every
Like a
month,
Yeah.
yeah.
subscription thing? Really? How do you play
Yeah.
them?
So you can
Like
get
on
them through,
Steam?
there's three different ways to get them. Either you get it through Amazon directly and you play through their app, but you play off of your computer hardware. It's not like
Ah, okay.
streaming. They do offer that too. I think it's called Luna or something like that. And
Right.
then there's GOG, what is it called? Good Old Games, I think it's called. Um, GOG gives you the license, but DRM free, so they can never really take it from you, like no matter what happens. So it's one of those. It's reliable, and then there's Epic Game Store. So there's three different ways. But
Yeah, I
Yeah,
didn't
for
know
yeah,
that.
yeah, for sure. There's a bunch of platforms, but I think Steam is the monopoly over all of them. Epic is kind of trying to crawl in there. Um, and they're always giving away free games. I'm not a PC gamer, but I always try to redeem the good ones that come out that they give you for free in case I ever go and play it on PC. But yeah, Epic is always giving every couple of weeks or every month they're giving out free games, and especially during the holidays, Christmas season, they almost give out free games like every other day. New and good games, really good games. But yeah, Mafia, yeah, I do know that they gave it for away for free, like you said, Noel on PC, and they also gave it away for free, at least the first one on the PS Plus package. So definitely a cool game. I would recommend this one to you, Andy. I know you're not a huge gamer as much nowadays, being the family man over there, but yeah, definitely
Retro, bro. Retro, that's
yeah.
all I do. When I do have a minute.
But yeah, Mafia is definitely a must play out there. So go check it out. Um, Something else that I just recently watched just came out this year or now last year, being 2025, that new Netflix Frankenstein movie. Not sure if either one of you guys watched it. I've seen a few Frankenstein movies here and there. Not, I've never seen any of those old classics, which I heard they're pretty good. Those classic monster,
Hmm.
Frankenstein, Mummy, and stuff like that. I've seen more of the modern ones. Um, uh, this one was good. I wasn't expecting it to be good. I wouldn't call it great, and I wouldn't call it bad either. I was after actually watching well, because Alana wanted to watch it, so Alana's just like, "Hey, let's watch Frankenstein." She brought it up like two or three times, and then I felt bad. I'm like, maybe I should give it a shot. So I watched the trailer, and it made me want to watch it even less. I'm like, man, this isn't gonna be good. But after watching it, it was a good 2+ hours, like 2:20, 2:15, something like that, movie. It was actually pretty good. Pretty good story, really good cinematography. Uh, it was the classic, um, you know, Frankenstein, for people that don't know, that is actually the creator and not the monster. And he's, disregards whether he should do it. And it brings a lot into modern day society, into like AI and other stuff. Just because you can doesn't mean that you should. And this doctor figures out how to bring life back, reanimate it. And so he brings back this creature. It goes amok, and then shenanigans come out of it, Andy. But yeah, really cool. I actually came out enjoying it a lot more. Now, I got to ask you, Noel, towards the Frankenstein, if you want to talk about that, but more towards, do you ever keep your expectations so low that when you watch something, you're like, hey, that wasn't that half bad? And does that help going into a movie that, you don't know too much about?
I do try to keep measured expectations. Yeah, I find that yeah, when I go with low expectations, like people are shitting on it, and I'm like, ah, this is probably gonna suck, but I want to check it out. I usually end up liking it more than I thought I would. Whereas when it's hyped up, I go into it with these high expectations, and it hardly ever really lives up to it.
Right, right. But yeah, as far as Frankenstein, was this something that you were interested in, Noel? I know you're the
Yeah.
movie buff here.
100%, man. I do know about this a little bit, but I haven't watched it yet. It's on the radar, and I have a list of stuff I'm gonna watch. It's a first world problem, man. It's just a lot of entertainment to get through, and it's just not enough time, man, for a working guy, you know. So it is what it is. But I'm gonna watch it eventually. Probably now that you're talking about it, I'll probably watch it, if not today, pretty soon.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I don't know if today, but pulling back the curtains for you guys, today's Super Bowl. So, come around 3, 4, or 5. It's Super Bowl time, time to see the commercials. And I guess a quick segue, Andy, man, who's your pick? By the time we hear this, we're either going to sound like geniuses or we're going to sound like idiots. Who's winning this one? The Pats or is it the Seahawks?
I think, I mean, Vrabel's a good coach, but I'm going with the Seahawks. They just look, their defense looks pretty good, and they've proven it this whole second. I feel like the second half of the season. So I got the Seahawks this one. I think it's going to be low scoring. I mean, I think it's going to be under
Okay.
like 30 points. I mean, the way these defenses are, I think, yeah, Seahawks got it. What they did to the Rams, I don't know. I like the Seahawks, but who knows? The Patriots, their franchise is so lucky, I guess. I don't know to make it to the Super Bowl so quick after Brady. Well, not quick, but Brady left 8 seasons ago. So, and then this coach just turned it around in a year with the second year quarterback and that good defense. So we'll see.
Yeah, for sure. I think a lot of people are leaning towards Seattle. I had a doctor's appointment on Friday, and while we were there, the nurses had a board, and I guess as people were passing by, you could put a tick mark next to Seattle or a tick mark next to the Pats, and Seattle was the overwhelming
Yeah.
favorite from what people think. And I think, like you said, Andy, defenses typically win those games, and I think Seattle's got this one.
It's going back to when Super Bowl the first Super Bowl that Brady made against that high scoring offense against the Rams. No one picked the Patriots and they beat them. So I'm not getting that vibes right now, but like I said, you don't know. Everybody's picking. Everybody I've talked to says the Seahawks. The odds are in Seahawks. So we might see an upset. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, for sure. It's a little disappointing if you think it's going to be low scoring. Hopefully, it's a shootout. It's like a 40-35 game.
Nah.
Because people want excitement, and I think all eyes are on the Super Bowl this year with the whole halftime controversy, and people wanting to watch commercials. So hopefully, the NFL comes through, but we will have to see. Something else that I watched that maybe is down your alley, Noel. I think you watched this as well, probably. The Conjuring, the Last Rites. So I watched this movie. Really cool, man. I really enjoy the whole Warren. Forget the guy's name, Ed and Lorraine Warren. I think they're awesome. I think all their movies have been really good, and I was always really fascinated, even before they came out with their movies, just them in general, how they're real life Ghostbusters. They go out there and they help people with the spirit world. And it was always just really entertaining in my younger years. And even now that they came out with these movies, really cool. Not sure if this is their last one, or if they're going to come out with another one, but definitely good way to go out with their kid making a big present in this movie, being a big part of it. But really enjoyed it. Is this something that you've seen all yet?
I actually haven't watched it yet either. I have a long list, like I said, and that's
Yeah.
part of it. But I did end up buying that one physically because I know I'm gonna like it, and I have almost the entirety of the collection. Everything that's in 4K, I got 4K now. So yeah, I do plan to watch it. I might end up again watching that one today because yeah, now that you're talking about it, you got me in the mood for some horror movies now.
Yeah, for sure. This one was a good one. I know Ed had some heart issues in real life, and this movie really plays up on it. Like I said, their daughter really plays a big part. Their daughter is now dating a guy, and it kind of shows like the start of maybe another series taking off. I'm assuming they're trying to see if people gravitate to that, and then maybe they can make another spin-off where it's just the kids. But who knows? Was this something in your radar, Andy? I know you're a fellow Ghostbusters and have even hinted to maybe go to a couple haunted houses here in the local area.
Yeah, the Conjuring universe, I guess you want to call it. What do they got, like 6 or 7 movies now? It's really popular. I knew about the Warrens from those 90s shows, the Sightings and Unsolved Mysteries, and I think they had a
Right.
couple like TV specials back in the day. I kind of forgot about them until they did The Conjuring, and I watched like the first two movies, and it kind of rekindled about all that they've done in the past. And I think they have books out too that are pretty they put out themselves or books about them. They were really good in the 90s and late 80s. So I do want to see them. The Annabelle stuff, the Nun. I think I saw the Nun, the first one, and that was okay. And then I watched. There's another one, right? There's another one in the series. I forgot, but I have the only ones I watched is the first two, and I haven't watched this last one, which I do kind of want to watch. But it's kind of hard. My wife's not into that, and then I got a kid, a toddler, and I'm like, if he hears scary music on the TV or anything, he just turns his head. He's like, "What's going on?" And then like, he knows something bad's gonna happen, so it's kind of hard to watch those movies when he's around.
Yeah, for sure. This one is definitely a little scary, supernatural, so it's not for them youngsters. But Andy, let's get off to some a little bit of more mellow talk, as in the stock market is crashing. Fill us in on the crypto market, which is also kind of scary at times. Fill us in on your thoughts.
So yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think all of us might have some crypto if I remember correctly. I got about a couple different ones, and it's just been brutal this whole week. It kind of started the week before as from this recording. Um, Bitcoin tanked, XRP, Deutsche, ETH, they're all tanking, and then it goes up and goes down. And I did buy a little bit more in the dip on Friday. Um, but yeah, man, it's hard to hold on. The biggest one I got is the Bitcoin, but that thing got down to under 70,000 a coin, and yeah, man, it's nuts. That's what I'm saying. Like, it's hopefully the bounce backs come in. I know there's this talk in Congress and Senate about some crypto bill, and supposedly if this happens, this thing's ready to blow. And I think on Friday, the Dow did really good. It closed over 50,000 points, the first time ever.
Right.
So it looks like stuff's ready to pop. And, and you know, as you get older, you always worry about the future. And I'm looking at this as a long-term investment, but and it's been pretty good generally with the Bitcoin. But everything else is like up and down, man. It's just nuts. It's like that. I don't know if you remember, like during the pandemic, they did this commercial for one of the exchanges. I forgot which one it was. It's like it's a guy. He's like, oh, I'm a crypto millionaire, and then it goes down. He's like, I'm not a millionaire no more, and I'm a millionaire again, and the cat's like
Mm.
high five. So that's how it feels with it lately. And this week it's just like I think it's since I've owned crypto, this thing is like the worst, man. We were talking about major fucking drops, and like I said, to me, I was just like, damn, like this. It's probably the lowest it's been since I've owned crypto.
Yeah, agreed, man. I had a couple thousand in it, and I lost like half of it with
Yeah.
these dips up and down. And I was like you, I'm like, man, should I double down and buy in, so that hopefully with the upswing, because it is going to upswing. I think as long as hopefully you're going to be on this earth for a couple more years, you're in it for the long haul, and you can get the upswing and then definitely get the earnings from there. So yeah, it went down quite a bit, uh, but I don't need, thank God, the money right now. So hopefully it bounces back up. But like you said, Andy, maybe this is the time to buy some more.
If
Do
you
you have it?
can.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, don't leverage your
This is not
mortgage. Yeah, right.
financial advice here. We're just telling you what we do. Like you seen
Well,
all the videos.
well, maybe Noel has financial advice because he's the one with the degree. Do you
Uh-huh.
have any crypto, Noel?
Honestly, I haven't really done too much research into all the different ones. I have, I think, some Bitcoin from years back that I just never, used on the market. But it's like one of those things. It's with AI and everything. It's a lot of variables, and I'm not quite sure how it's all going to play out. I invested in a decent amount of stuff back in the day around 2019, 2020, and then I made some money. I lost a lot, and then ever since then, I've been like very careful about investing in just about anything. So I don't know if you have the extra cash, maybe put some into it. I think there's like a certain set rule, like you invest a certain amount of your check into stuff, but y- you treat it, I would say do like anything, do your due diligence and research and only put what you have extra and diversify is the best way and don't just put it all in one basket or the eggs in one basket as the saying goes.
Yeah, diversify, like I said, spread it out. But yeah, I mean, like good luck to everybody. Do what you got to do and unload or buy more, whatever you can do. The other thing that I got going on lately is, man, like I don't know what happened since the start of the new year. Really been into physical media again, so I've been buying uh DVDs, Blu-rays, and 4Ks when I go when I find like the right price. And I just like the streaming services are getting. I see more and more people complaining about them, how expensive they getting, especially with the merger or the buyout from Netflix and Warner Brothers. Warner Brothers has like the biggest movie catalog out of all the studios, and with Disney acquiring Fox and then Paramount doing its thing, Sony is just like licensing everything out. It's just getting a little crazy, and I see physical media. A lot of people, not just me, feel that I think it's making a kind of a comeback, um, because a lot of stuff. Uh, I'm reading more and more people have remember stuff about stuff they used to watch, and they're not finding any of the streaming services, and they were released on DVD or even Blu-rays. A lot of mostly shows, and I don't know. So I bought a couple. I've been buying movies here and there since January, and I've been watching them. Usually on Fridays, I try to watch something, Blu-ray, DVD, and I see my kids like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "This, we're gonna watch a movie," and I pop it in the PlayStation, and he's like kind of not weirded out. He's like he just usually just pushing the touch screen, and he's watching whatever he wants. So I bought a bunch of, like, I would say maybe like 20 to 30 movies since January. And I just see them like I gotta organize my collection again. And then the other thing is I think I gotta find an app to keep track of all this shit because I'm getting old and I don't remember as much as I used to.
So let me ask you. You said DVDs, is that right? Because I know Noel gets Blu-rays and
It gets
4K
4Ks.
Blu-rays
Yeah.
to begin
Uh-huh.
with. So you're getting DVDs.
Well, it's mostly older movies. So as you see a lot of the 4Ks on the older movies, it's from niche distributors like Shout, Alpha. Um, they're not being released by the studios. The DVDs were released by the studio. So if there isn't like a Blu-ray or higher, I'll just get the DVD. And a lot of it's like stuff from the 80s and 90s. And then a
Okay.
lot of the stuff that was released on Blu-ray back like 10 years ago, it's out of print and it's going for like crazy amount of money. Like I'm not talking about like $10 here. I'm talking about like 40 or $50. I've been seeing a lot of that too lately. And like I said, and mostly it's like collections. I've been buying a lot of collections. Like, and what I mean by that, like DVD releases of like if it's a trilogy or four film, six film. Warner Brothers was pretty good about that, and Universal. They released a lot of DVD collections, and then anything uh, that I want, especially like older movies. And when I mean by older, I'm talking about like 50s, 60s, and 70s. There's a lot of good DVD releases, good collector's editions that were released late 90s and early 2000s that are pretty good and highly reviewed with a lot of extras because a lot of the newer stuff doesn't have a lot of extras. And so that's what I'm into right now. And the DVDs, they're a lot affordable now. I mean, you can get them for like $2, $3 if you really look hard. And then even on Marketplace, Facebook Marketplace, you get a whole boxes for like 100 movies for like $20 because people are just trying to unload them, especially like the DVD sets. I don't know if you remember, I talked about I bought the show Las Vegas on DVDs. It had 6 seasons, and that was like I'm talking about. I bought that I think before the pandemic, right? When I bought that, and I paid I think like 40, $50 for the whole individual series, like on DVD. And they just finally released it on Blu-ray. And I think I saw someone post in one of the groups like, "Oh, I finally got this on Blu-ray," and I'm like, "Oh shit, they released it." And they released it in from what I read, it's just a bare bones, is a Blu-ray bare bones set, like no real extras. And I think the set's going for like $80, and they literally just released it. I'm just like, damn. And I don't know how long they're gonna keep it. It's probably gonna go out of print real quick because that show is not on streaming. Everything I looked, no one has it. That's why I think they released the Blu-ray. And because people were bitching on the comments like, yeah, this show is not available anywhere for streaming, and so people were snatching it up. But
I thought I saw it on Prime not too long ago because I
maybe
was
to
watching that.
buy, I don't know.
No,
That's what I read in
I
the
was watching them.
comments. Yeah, it's a Universal show, so usually they dump those on Peacock, but I could be wrong. That's what all the comments said, that it was really hard to find, and I think because the music. They had a lot of current music, and when current music's being used when the show is filmed, it's a big issue to get releases because otherwise you got to pay a lot of money. That was a big holdup with Miami Vice. They finally released it on DVD and Blu-ray. They had to get deals with all the music because they had a lot of current music, and I think the other big one is Wonder Years. I saw a lot of bootleg DVDs back in the day. A lot of the issues with the Wonder Years was the music because they used a lot of music from that time where the show was based off of, and that was a big hurdle for getting stuff released. That's why they released like the best of episodes. I think there's a couple DVDs like that, and they had to pay. They got the rights to a lot of. They were allowed the licensing rights to for those episodes to release on DVD and pay the artist or whatever to use that music, which is always like a big hurdle.
I would think that would be a printing press if they would have just paid the licensing for the Wonder Years. I know I would buy that box set if they would have released that on
I
Blu-ray.
I think they released a box set a while back, but it wasn't I don't know. It's hard to find. That's all I know. I've never seen one anywhere. I think they're like on eBay. But yeah, they're just really hard to find and they're like real expensive. And that's a whole big issue with a lot of TV shows. But yeah, I mean, I gotta find an app to catalog all this stuff that I got. There's a lot of stuff is getting harder and harder. And then there's this big niche market too for VHS, man. That's bouncing back too. It's nuts. Um,
Next,
I
you're gonna
was
say
reading.
Betamax.
Hey, man, Laserdisc is still real popular.
I just
V-
don't get it, man.
VHS just people like that shit, man. To me, like VHS is kind of cool, but
it's like the hipster thing.
Right.
Yeah,
It's not logical.
but you're seeing
It's like
people
you're like,
find tapes.
oh man, this is oh, smells good. Yeah, it's just
You
like,
just
dude, just let all that stuff go, man.
It's the tapes. You see people post tapes that they find they're like moldy or the
Right.
magnetic strip is like falling off. I mean, they had a lifespan, like not a really long lifespan to begin with, unless you store it right and all this other crap. But it's to me, it's like not a hipster thing like Danny's saying, but yes, it's like this thing like I got these tapes.
Right.
And a lot of that stuff on tapes from like the early 80s. It's very campy, niche. You're never going to see that stuff on any digital format unless someone takes that tape and uploads it on like YouTube or something.
Right.
And there's a bunch of people on YouTube that upload old VHS tapes for stuff that you think will get a copyright strike, and people copyright strike a lot of that stuff, which I find fucking hilarious. Like some piece of shit movie they made in the early 80s, and someone comes out, I own the rights to this movie, you can't. And then they're posting like videos, oh, I got copyright striked on this movie that I uploaded from this. Who would have thought that someone still owns this? I thought like nobody, it's not on no DVD, it's not on no streaming, and it just, I uploaded it. And I find that fucking hilarious because it's like some shit that you remember seeing back in the day. You're like, I want to watch this. And then, yeah. But there's a lot of VHS uploads on YouTube of old stuff. And there's a lot of people that do it. And some of it's just so fucking bad. It's hilarious. I love shit like that. It's um, it's just
It
funny, dude. I
it
mean, this stuff, like to me, it's like, it's a nostalgic thing.
it definitely is an investment. I thought about it a couple years ago to get into vinyl, and I'm like, man, I should get into this,
Yeah,
buy a
some
few
people.
vinyls. I know the market's really hot for it, but it's just a lot of investment, a lot of floor space, and I just don't have it. I mean, I have a smaller size home. We don't all get to have big mansions where you got like empty space everywhere, and it's just like if I had like a basement, it'd be cool to set it up with all the nostalgia things, like you said, Andy, to go out and buy the NES collection of video games, to go buy all the DVDs that you know, really are enamored with, and you know there are last prints and they're not making them anymore. But yeah, man, it's a big investment to definitely get into stuff like that.
Just real quick, I when they re-release or not re-released the X-Men 97, I watched a couple of the
Mm.
episodes. I'm like, ah, it was okay, but I'm like, man, you know the first thing that popped in my head when you would get the two tapes from Pizza Hut? Like you remember you go to Pizza Hut and they offered volume one and two on VHS, and it was in that black box, and I think it came with a comic book and a card. So I started like searching those first two tapes. There's a lot of them on eBay. They're affordable, and I started looking for like sealed ones, and then everything after that they released on VHS. A lot of those episodes, dude, they go for like not big money, but it's not cheap. And I was like, oh man, I was like, for a while, I was like, I'm gonna try to complete that set, and then
Hmm.
I just like, nah, man, I'm good right now. I'm gonna just look for the first two from Pizza Hut, and then try to find them sealed, and then just have them there and just look at them every once in a while because those two tapes were like everywhere, man. Everybody had those tapes because they got them from Pizza Hut when Pizza Hut was popular. Now it's going down now.
Yeah, I
But
just saw in the news that they shutting down like 100 stores this year.
yeah, Pizza Hut really fell off, and yeah, it is what it is. But let's switch it up. Let's go a little bit lighthearted here. Speaking of X-Men, we're gonna go to Noel here. He talked about something that I wanted to see. But me being a big Avengers fan, he saw the Wonder Man series. How did it hold up, Noah? Did it disappoint? Did they stay to the comic book? I see they made a couple changes, which we'll see how it goes. But what are your thoughts on that? I talked to somebody else. They said it was okay.
So, yeah, a little disclaimer. I don't know much at all about Wonder Man in terms of his comic book or the backstory. I went into this like a newbie. Like I just wanted to see what is Marvel gonna put out this time, kind of thing. And especially because it was something a little different than their typical. I think they had Loki and a few other things recently that they weren't really my cup of tea. So I kind of skipped a lot of the recent stuff. But I heard Wonder Man was going to be more about an actor in Hollywood,
Hmm.
and I was like kind of curious. I'm like, all right, let's see what they do with it. If it's not going to be just a pure action type of show, and it really wasn't actually very action heavy. It's much more on the, I would say, like drama D or dark comedy side. There's moments of like this dark desperation of this character, who the main actor is, Yahya Abdul Mateen. He plays Simon Williams in the show, and Ben Kingsley plays Trevor Slattery, who is the Mandarin from Iron Man 3, I believe it is. So he reprises his role as Mandarin, and it's a pretty interesting duo they play. They work off each other really well, and in the beginning of the show, Trevor Slattery, he gets put in a position where he needs to do something for the government to kind of help his situation. And so Simon Williams, who at this point is already super powerful, he is Wonder Man, but not Wonder Man. He's Simon Williams.
Hmm.
So they want to keep tabs on him in terms of his power and make sure he's not going to be a threat to humanity and everything, because it's like insane what he can do, right? And he's getting stronger and stronger as time goes on. So they kind of set up this friendship, and it. I don't want to. I'm trying to like avoid spoilers, so I'm trying to be careful with my words here. It is a good show. I would say it's worth watching. It's not great. It's kind of like how Daniel reviewed Frankenstein. Like it's good, but it's not great. I see there's a good foundation here. I'm curious to see if they will do a season two. I don't know if they actually will. I haven't heard anything, and there's nothing green lit so far that I'm seeing. It just shows season one, 8 episodes. One thing I did like about it, they're really bite-sized, 30-minute episodes. If you cut out the intro and outro, maybe, I don't know, 28 minutes. So very
Okay.
bite-sized and easy to digest. Just I would watch it after work, a couple episodes here, a couple episodes there. Um, and all in all, probably like a 3.5 hour thing. Um, I would give it a 7 out of 10. I thought it was more drama heavy than it was action heavy, but you could see that at the end, at the very, like the last 2 episodes, you could see that, yeah, this is going to get to a point where it's going to be just action, where it's like, all right, this is, you set it up, you kind of care about these characters, you see where they came from, where they are, what they've been through, and now it's like, all right, now you can't hide behind your secret persona. He was hiding behind Simon Williams for so long, despite him being Wonder Man, and then him trying out to play Wonder Man in a TV show in Hollywood. That was a cool, like, little tie-in thing. Um, but it seems like you guys know more about the comics. So, have you guys seen this or are excited to watch it, or what's going on on your end?
For me, I've never even heard of this character, to be honest. And I'm a pretty big Marvel fan. I just Googled it just to see if it was animated, live action. I didn't even know much about it. The cover looks like he's just like it looks like just like a Lifetime movie kind of thing. So it does give off like that human vibe drama to it instead of like super actiony. So I'm not sure how, like you said, Noel, it looks like it's going to go more towards action, but yeah, I've never heard about this character. I'm not really sure where he's involved. I'm assuming the Avengers from what Andy's mentioned. I know Andy's a huge Avengers fan.
Yeah, I mean, he's a pretty important character in the Avengers, and then he is a movie star in the comic. He has a relationship with Wanda, the Scarlet Witch, and then he dies, and then they bring him back, and then they do some type of merge with Vision, if I remember correctly, and then there's all this conflict around that, and he is, I mean, that's what I'm saying. He's pretty powerful, like Noel describes in the comic. He's pretty powerful, and then so that's why I saw like they're trying to make it like this Hollywood thing where he's an actor. They really, if I remember, they really don't. They just say he's like a star, like a movie star, but they really don't show like him like where he's auditioning. He's just like a movie star. And here I saw the trailer and like they are asking him like, "Oh, you don't have powers, do you?" Like all this like weird stuff. So I don't know if they're trying to make it like they don't want people like that or some type of mutant thing. I don't know. It was kind of weird. And I'm like,
Yep.
they're changing it up a little. So I'm like, I don't know. That's what I'm saying. Like I see they're trying to switch it up and then I'm like, I hope they don't go too woke on this either. So that's why some of the people told me it's okay, it's not too bad, and I'm just like, I don't know, like I don't want to. You guys were talking about low expectations. That's what I have for this.
Yeah, I would say going with low expectations. That's what I went in with it, and the acting is solid. I will give him that. Give him credit. Ben Kingsley, is it's phenomenal actor, and so even the new person that's playing Simon Williams, he's relatively new to the scene. I would say he was in Aquaman 1 and 2. He did pretty well. I would say as Simon Williams, I believed it. Now I know, originally I think it was more Caucasian looking character in the comics, but it's cool to
Yeah,
see, just a good actor play the role. I didn't really care about that part of it, the whole race part of it. And just for Daniel here, so you get an idea of his abilities. Not everything is shown in the show. Like I said, there's moments of action, but he's trying to keep on the DL. He's not trying to blow up his cover, but the character has superhuman strength, superhuman speed, agility, stamina, reflexes, ionic energy physiology, enhanced vision, hearing, electromagnetic manipulation, ionic energy manipulation, energy enhanced strike, virtual invulnerability, self sustenance, power recycling, size alteration, healing factor, shapeshifting,
Jesus.
teleportation,
dang.
immortality, and flight. So this guy is
Dang.
like almost like God, right? Essentially, this is what this guy
Mm-hmm.
can almost you gotta like equate it to that. Like this guy's eventually gonna get to that point. He can control energy, and so yeah, I mean that's almost like God at this point. In the show, it's not that far advanced. He has a lot of super strength. You could tell when his eyes start changing color. You could tell he's getting angry, and it can explode this ionic force, just energy. But mainly what the show is about the human side of it. He's trying to be an actor, and he's struggling in Hollywood because he doesn't have connections. He's not a very friendly person because he's a little bit self-centered, a little bit egotistical, and he also doesn't want people to know his secrets, so he kind of keeps to himself. And in
And
the
he's here
show,
on Earth?
he's
He's
here on Earth. He's a human, right? He's a
Yeah.
person that was born here. He's a mutant, I would say. That's probably the best way to describe it. And there's very much like what Andy was saying with X-Men, like this stigma to being a mutant, and people think, okay, you're evil then. If you're a mutant, you're different, you're evil, we're against you. And not that they would say he's a villain, but they would probably say you can cause damage and we don't know what you can do and we don't want to take any chances. Um, and it kind of I don't want to spoil anything, but have you ever heard of a doorman,
Mm-hmm.
Andy? So there's a character named Doorman who he can like create like a portal, I guess, within himself that people could pass through, or he can do a bunch of stuff with like portals and just gateways, I guess you want to call it. And so there's a character in the show that does that, and he becomes like a famous person, and everyone like he has that one liner that everybody wants to hear, but then they get tired of it until one day he uses his ability, and somebody ends up dying, and it ends up being really bad, and they decide
Yeah.
no more mutants, no more any of that in Hollywood. And so this guy, Simon Williams, wanting to be an actor, wanting to be Wonder Man, he tries to hide it as best as he can, and he uses the Mandarin or Trevor Slattery to get closer to that position. He they kind of bounce ideas off each other, and there stuff happens where they have to like go on this journey together. And just gonna wrap it up with this in terms of Wonder Man. It surprised me in terms of where they went with it. I thought it was gonna be a typical comedic, actiony type of show, but it actually had a little more depth to it. There's a little bit of the redemption of the character. He's still kind of an egotistical person, a little bit narcissist, but he had some tragic loss young in his life, and he's trying to like do an honor by his father and becoming Wonder Man. And later on in the show, he redeems himself by performing some selfless acts. And I'm gonna leave it there. I don't want to spoil it. It's too soon. It just came out recently, so if you guys get a chance to watch it, like I said, 30-minute episodes, uh, 3 to 3.5 hours if you watch it all in one go. And yeah, really quick, I'll move on to one last thing here because I don't want to keep it there too long. I finished Stranger Things, and Daniel already talked about it, so I'm not going to go too much into detail on it. I'm just going to give my opinion on it. I actually enjoyed it more than I thought I was. This is another one. I went in with low expectations. I was expecting this to be really woke, really just agenda heavy, and it wasn't quite that much. There were moments where I was like, okay, here's where they're putting that in, here's where they're sticking that in there. But overall, it focused more on the story, it focused more on wrapping things up, and the ending left the possibility for a happy ending, which I thought was, the way to go out. I think that's the best way you probably could do it where it makes sense. And if you wanted to, you could still do a sequel down the line if the way it played out is the way they said it played out. I'm not gonna give spoilers, but Daniel, since you watched it, when Mike talks to the group and he gives like his little Dungeons and Dragons, like, but there's also the possibility that this happened. And I was like, wait, what? Did that happen or not? He's like, well, that'll leave it up to you to decide kind of thing. I'm thinking, okay, if if they're still alive, then yeah, then there's the possibility for a sequel, and I'd be interested to see what they do with it. But overall, I would give the grand total overall show probably like an 8 out of 10. The final season, like a 7.5 out of 10. I think there were some seasons that were stronger, but they wrap things up nicely. I thought.
Yeah, for sure, man. Have you seen any of the YouTubes afterwards that kind of give you a hint to what the alternatives can be, as far as the alternative endings, maybe could be very interesting. I myself saw a few plot holes as I was watching the show. And then Junior's the one that brought it to my attention. Like, yeah, this is the buzz at school, is that, the ending is actually this, and the other. And so I went onto YouTube, and there was some awesome videos where they would show you, hey, notice this. Like, I'll give you one. At the very last scene when they're on the table and they're talking the Dungeons and Dragons thing, if you look in the background, the door is backwards. The door handle is the other way, and so the handle's like on the left instead of the right, or the other way around. And
Ooh.
it's like, all right, well, if your whole purpose is to recreate the first scene from the first show, you would think whoever's doing the set is looking at that first scene and going, okay, there was a statue here, there was a poster here, there was a bookcase here, and recreating that set, because they don't keep these sets in there indefinitely. They have to recreate them. Why would they put the door in backwards? Now, it could just be that somebody messed up. I think Andy, I forgot what word you used, but continuity guys, that's their only job, is you got to make sure that this all makes sense. You can't
Yeah.
have them have a red shirt in the first scene and then a red shirt in the second scene. It doesn't make sense. So watch the videos. Really cool. They come up with like 20 or 30 different things that are odd, and it's like, why did they do this? And it's really cool. It's really cool to think that they thought about making this like whole question the ending kind of thing, but my guess is they just ran out of time and they just made mistakes. is my guess.
They were in a rush.
Yeah, but really
Yeah,
cool to think of it.
I had to look that up. I haven't looked any of those up yet. I was just kind of I watched it and then I just kind of sat with it for a minute and just started thinking about what they said, and based off of what they provided in context, like what they said, I'm like, yeah, you could still do something more with this if you wanted down the line.
Hmm.
Especially because they didn't really wrap up the whole, I forgot what her name is, but it's the Sarah Connor thing. Like she just kind of just disappears. It's like, all right. So it's like she could still be a part of it, I would say. She still wants the power that these people have. So we'll see. I have to watch some of those videos and maybe in another episode we'll, bring it up again. But oh yeah, and one last thing, just a real quick thing. I watched Groundhog's Day just recently, and it inspired the article. So uh, let's get into this article of the week. All right, so like I said, I watched Groundhog Day recently, and Bill Murray and all that with the Punxsutawney Phil, and it just kind of got me thinking about all this stuff, and how we do this tradition where we look at this chipmunk looking thing, and we kind of give it this power to forecast the future of what the weather's going to be. And so anyway, the article we have here, Punxsutawney Phil, it said I've seen a shadow forecasting 6 more weeks of wintry weather. Big surprise, right? More winter here. So real quick here, this came from AP News and it came out February 2nd. So really quick here, Punxsutawney Phil predicted 6 more weeks of wintry weather. Monday, a forecast sure to disappoint many after it's already been a long cold season across large parts of the United States. His annual prediction and announcement that he had seen a shadow was translated by his top hat wearing handlers in Punxsutawney Groundhog Club at Gobbler's Knob in western Pennsylvania, similar to Groundhog Day, the movie. The news was greeted with a mix of cheers and boos from tens of thousands who braved temperatures in the single digits to await the annual prognostication. The extreme cold kept the crowd bundled up and helped keep people on the main stage dancing. Usually, I guess they can have people up there to take pictures, but I guess it was pretty cold, so they decided not to. They could do like selfies and things like that. It also goes into detail here. New York has their own version of it. They call it Staten Island Chuck. They had like a live stream or something like that. But going down a little further here, the Punxsutawney Club says that when Phil is deemed to not see a shadow, that means there will be an early spring. When he does see it, it's 6 more weeks of winter. But typically, Phil tends to predict a longer winter more than anything else. So the annual ritual goes back more than a century, and it has ties to the ancient farming traditions in Europe. Punxsutawney's festivities have grown considerably since the movie came out in 1993, The Groundhog Day. It also goes into other predictions that they've made. Um, and it does have other examples. And so Georgia has their own thing, New York, obviously, North Carolina. And it kind of goes into what all the other ones have predicted. But just going down a little further here, thousands brave the cold weather to see Punxsutawney Phil. So this is still pretty much like a famous, I don't want to say a holiday, but a national thing that people still get into. And it says here Lisa Gibson of Pittsburgh was at her 10th Groundhog Day in Punxsutawney wearing a lighted hat that resembled a tree stump from which Phil emerged shortly after daybreak. Um, and Groundhog Day falls on February 2nd, which is the midpoint between the shortest, darkest day of the year on the winter solstice and the spring equinox. So this time of year also figures into the Celtic calendar and the Christian holiday of Candlemas. Rick Steiger, Pennsylvania's Secretary of Community and Economic Development, said that the outdoor thermometer read 4 degrees Fahrenheit on his way to Gobbler's Knob. He says, I think it's just fun, folks having a good time, attending his 4th straight Groundhog Day in Punxsutawney. It brings people together at a challenging time. It is a unifying force that showcases the best of Pennsylvania, the best of Punxsutawney, this area. Last year's announcement was also 6 more weeks of winter. Not much of a surprise since it is the first week of February. And his handlers call it Groundhog Ease, and they interpret winks, purrs, chatters, and nods. And they interpret that in a meteorological way to kind of tell you what the weather's going to be. But all in all, it's just kind of funny, but it is cool in a way that we do keep this tradition alive and that it is also in a way immortalized in that movie Groundhog Day. And so I just wanted to, have a little fun article. What do you guys think about all this?
I don't know if you're aware, but there's one here in Illinois as well, in Woodstock.
Hmm.
Um, and the one in Woodstock actually contradicts the one in wherever the hell this chickmonk's at. Um, but it said that that winter is done and that's it. But looking out my window this morning, I saw it snowed, so I don't know. It doesn't sound like the Woodstock one was correct.
I hear you, man. It's been up and down here, but thankfully I did see the snow too, but I'm looking outside now with the sun out. It looks like it melted, so it might be that for us, we're kind of past it now, thankfully. But I think the East Coast is still getting hit pretty good.
Yeah, I think so. It's funny. We were driving back from visiting some family yesterday, and while we were driving back, I told Alana, I'm like, "So what's up? Is winter done? You know, it's like in the 30s. It felt a little chilly just because there was a big wind chill, but it felt nice." And I'm like, "Is this it? Is it gonna be up and done from this year?" But then we woke up to some snow, and I told her, I'm like, "Hey, what happened?" And she's like, "You asked me temperature. You didn't ask me if there was gonna be any more snow." So yeah, I think you're right. I did see it's kind of melting off. So uh, yeah, these things I think are cool. I know the one in Woodstock is not too far from where I live, um, and it's a big deal. People go out there, they go to these events. It's kind of like going to the Memorial Day parade or the Fourth of July parade. It's just an event that happens, and if it's in your area, people get really hyped up for it.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I was gonna say. The one in Woodstock contradicted the one in New York. I didn't know there was one in Staten Island or whatever you said. And then, yeah, I think the movie really made this thing bigger than it is. And yeah, I mean, I didn't get no snow over here where I'm at, so. Yeah, I mean, I think by now I think this winter we've had has probably been the worst one in a while. I think the with the cold and the snow that we've gotten the last 2 months, it's been pretty rough, and I think people are just ready. I think they got cabin fever and they're ready to just get out. And like we were out and about yesterday running errands, and it was nice and sunny, and I was just like, yeah, I don't need my jacket. I took my thicker hoodie, and I was fine until it got dark, and I'm like, man, it's fucking cold. It started getting windy, and I was just like, I should have brought my jacket, but um, getting stuff ready for buying some stuff for the Super Bowl. But yeah, and did some returns. But yeah, I mean, it's a good tradition. I think it's important. To me, it's I don't know if this is really popular in like the Western world, especially Europe. To me, I've always thought of it as like some American thing. Obviously, something maybe from Britain or England or something. And I don't see them ever do anything, in Europe, but like we do here. So, and I think a lot of that's because of the movie. Um, and then yeah, I mean, I don't. To me, I always thought it's like a very American thing.
Yeah, I did too, honestly, until I read the article and it said it traces back over 100 years. So that was news to me. But the movie itself just had a wholesome like message to it. The redeeming part of Bill Murray being kind of an egocentric, like egotistical asshole and like a jerk. Just kind of
In real
always
life
rubbing
and in the
everything.
movies.
I don't know him in real life. I guess they don't like Bill Murray for some reason. I don't know. One of these days I have to do deep dive and figure out why. But the movie itself, though, Groundhog Day, the character, it was cool to see him be redeemed. The whole movie magic or whatever you want to call it, the magic in the movie of him reliving over and over and over until he finally gets it. Like this is a gift. Like you can use it to get better and be a better person. And then the groundhog thing just tied into it, bringing people together, unifying them. It's just kind of cool. And I think we need more of that nowadays. A lot of the bad stuff gets kind of thrown up here. And I think, America at its roots, it's about being unified. We're the United States, right? We're not the divided states of America. So it's just kind of cool, I thought, and hopefully we get more unification throughout.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's one of those great movies. And the other reason I don't like Bill Murray is because he's a Cubs fan. So yeah, that's already a knock on me. But
That
But
makes
you
sense.
think Groundhog Day is a great movie, and then you shit on Uncle Phil, or not Uncle Phil, Uncle Buck?
Uncle Buck, yeah, Uncle Phil is probably a better movie if it's out there.
Yeah, because it doesn't exist.
I was doing the editing today for my show that's coming up or dropping today. And yeah, when I was going through it, I'm like, oh man, this Uncle Buck, what could I write down for this thing without totally shitting on it on the description? But yeah, Uncle Buck. No, this movie I think is better. I think it's paced better, or at least the movie of Groundhog's Day. I did enjoy it. I think I enjoyed it because it was before I got to see a lot of the Bill Murray stuff. And I don't know the guy. He might be a great guy, but from what people recant of it, he could be a real asshole. And ever since I kind of got that vibe from him, and I think a lot of it is true, I kind of disliked him. I'm like, I I don't think the world needs more big-headed, arrogant people. I think it needs more kind people. And I don't know him. For all I know is if I saw him, he'd be the kindest guy I would know. But yeah, I think Groundhog's Day is definitely a classic, and I enjoy it every time I see it.
For
Yeah,
sure, man.
it's I don't know if it's a good movie. I'll give you that. But great. I mean, it's like Noel said, it has redeeming stuff. So the I think Dan usually he doesn't use the word great for movies. I'm kind of shocked he did for this one. Of all the great movies that are out there, he chose this one. So that's your hill to die on there, Danny.
Well, I guess I got to come up with the word in between good and great because I don't know if I would give it great,
Great,
but
better,
it's
best.
it's a little better than good.
Yeah, there you go. But you know what's good? We got to wrap this up, everybody. We want to thank you for listening. Remember, you can follow Freeform Network on X and Facebook and the Freeform Network. Send questions and suggestions to ffnquestions@gmail.com. Uh, Let us know what you guys think. Let us know what you want to talk about. Let us know your thoughts or things that we can do. So hit us up. Visit our webpage at freeformnetwork.podbean.com. There are all our episodes, our legacy episodes. A little bit before we jumped out, we were talking on how long we've been doing this. So we have over 250 episodes. I think a good chunk of them are on YouTube and on a bunch of different platforms. So let us know what you guys think on those older episodes. And, we would appreciate any, however you listen, you subscribe, like, comment. That helps us out immensely. For Freeform Radio, we got Danny.
Yes, sir, man. Gonna finish getting the snacks ready for the Super Bowl. Hopefully the commercials come in, and I'm sure we'll have much to talk about in our next one.
Yeah, real quick, you notice then there's not a lot of hype for commercials this year, so I don't know what that means.
I think a lot of them are dropping preemptively because I've seen some new like Dorito commercials, and I'm like, I bet you this is their Super Bowl spot, but they're releasing it already.
Okay, and then we got Noel.
Thank you, everybody, for tuning in for another episode. I'm gonna find something to eat here. Getting super hungry.
And then it's all good, Andy. Want to thank you guys for listening. And we'll be here dropping episodes hopefully for a long time. And we're thinking about doing some different things on formatting of the show and the way it looks. So keep an eye out, and we'll get you guys next time.
That was cool, Dad.